Welcome everybody, this is another special edition of the Heelcast. This is Hurls. I'm going to be reviewing Night of the Dummies. It was a one night only exclusive on the GWN, the Global Wrestling Network. This one was taped in August 25th. It was actually simultaneously taped as the previous one night only, which was, I'll tell you in a second here, but it was actually in Binghamton, New York. So that they had split rosters on this, so that's pretty much when these events occurred. So they had half the roster at the Canadian one night only, and then they had half the roster at the Binghamton, New York one night only. So pretty cool setup how they did it. And also the one night only that was in Canada was called Bad Intentions, which I did review on one of the previous Heelcasts. So make sure you check that out if you haven't. If you're interested in these one night only shows, definitely listen to the reviews. So anyways, without any further ado, let's get started with Impact one night only, Night of the Dummies. So this was available on the network September 14th. So a little behind on reviewing it, but anyways. When we started the show, you get Eli Drake. He's kind of hosting the night. He gives promos and vignettes throughout the night. I thought it was pretty funny. He did a lot of different comedy bits. Just kind of introduces that this is the night of the dummies, and he talks about what's going to take place during the night. So I think that was a really cool tie-in, and he did a funny thing where he goes to his reporter, which is himself, obviously. So he interviews people and he asks them who they want to see, and basically calls them dummies and whatnot. So you see these different funny skits throughout the night, and I thought that was a really nice touch to a one night only, because it's so different. Normally we're at these one night onlys and there's very little story or vignettes or skits. In this one, it filled you out with a lot of different skits, and there was story, and there was a lot of different things you don't see on typical one night onlys. But very, very cool. So anyways, our first match of the night is Jay Freddy versus Isis Epics. Isis Epics was a kind of a bigger guy. Jay Freddy was definitely the baby face. He was the one who was getting cheered. Decent match. Nothing to really write home about, though. It's cool to see these, guys you've never seen before. So I'll keep it at that. But Jay Freddy actually got the win here. Second match, we know both of these guys. It was Fallah Bah versus Dick Justice, the standby wrestler. He actually goes as the cop here. Funny comedy match. I enjoyed this match for what it was. It's a comedy match, nothing more. There was maybe one moment in this match where people might smack their heads if you're not into comedy. There was a point where Dick Justice pulls out a fake gun and he points it at Fallah Bah, and Fallah Bah says, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." I thought it was funny. But I could see why some people may not like it. Overall, decent comedy match for what it was. I'd say like a 3 out of 5 stars for a comedy match. Slick Wagner Brown fought Axel Lennox. Axel Lennox had like a almost like an Ascension type gimmick. It was a decent Slick Wagner Brown. Nothing really stood out about these guys. They just screamed your typical indie wrestlers. I know Slick Wagner Brown has actually been on the circuit for a while. He's one of the more known guys in this match, and he ended up getting the victory. But once again, there really wasn't anything to write home about that was real memorable. But the crowd was into it. And I must say, the venue that we were at was was like a almost like a Lions Club, kind of armory type place. It was like a war memorial type place, maybe a veterans hall. So it wasn't super big, but there was a decent amount of people that actually went to that show, and the crowd was actually pretty into it. And that definitely helped this show altogether. So and not only that, the Eli Drake skits in between a lot of the matches definitely helped as well. So anyways, back to the matches. We got a knockouts match. Two people we are definitely familiar with. It was Alicia Edwards versus Rebel. And I must say, this match was pretty sloppy. Rebel played the heel, but she was kind of the goofy heel here. Timing issues, not very smooth. If I had to say it was one of the worst knockout matches of the year, you could say that. Was it as bad as Rebel versus Salinas? No. From a couple years ago, no, it definitely wasn't that bad. But it was pretty bad. Not really cohesive. Rebel looks a little sluggish at times in this match. I don't know. She may have been drunk even. I'm not real sure, but it definitely wasn't one of the better knockouts matches. And I'm not saying that it was, it was the worst match I've ever seen, but it wasn't very good. So anyways, before that, we had Eddie Edwards kind of do some backstage promo with Alicia, and he's just kind of being his goofy self again and trying to say, hey, are we married and whatnot, are we still married, and Alicia's kind of like, you shouldn't be here and all that stuff. So the next segment we had, Homicide gave a good promo, kind of furthering the feud with him and LAX. It was a really good promo. He was kind of standing by a ladder. He was actually coming down a ladder, so I'm not really sure where he filmed the promo, but it was good. It was intense, and I'm glad that we got to see a singles match actually between those two, because we haven't really seen a lot of singles match furthering these feuds. So cool thing that you got to see it here. The next match was Team Tremendous, which was Bill Carr and Dan Barry. They fought the new Heavenly Bodies, which is Desirable Dustin and Gigolo Justin. Now, we have seen the new Heavenly Bodies on before. We saw them on Confrontation, which was one of the Twitch events. These guys are solid workers, and I enjoy seeing them. Team Tremendous was really fun to watch as well. Dan Barry was... he was the guy, I believe, that was... He was kind of more the smaller of the two. They did some really cool stuff. They worked well because Bill Carr was real tall, kind of looked like Big Boss Man style build, and Dan Barry was the smaller one. So this team actually worked pretty well together, and they actually ended up getting the pinfall. The match was about 10-28, and it was fun. They did some really, really cool moves. I enjoyed this match. I would give this match a 3 out of 5 stars. It was a solid take match. Also, Alicia versus Rebel, I'm going to give a 1 out of 5. So, didn't really get to do that. The Slick Wagner Brown versus Axel Lennox match, I'd give 2 out of 5. Nothing great. So, the next match, we saw Santana versus Homicide. And this match was really good. It was a street fight. It was short, though. I will say it was pretty short. So, the weird thing about this was, if my memory serves me correct, Jimmy Jacobs came out there and offered his support, but it didn't go too well for him. So, yeah, he got kind of booted out of there. So, Santana basically whooped his ass before the match, and so he got flown out, and Santana ends up defeating Homicide. Quick street fight, but the crowd was into it. Maybe I wish we could have seen a little more, but it was all right. It was entertaining. And then And then we had a fact of life. And Eli Drake actually brought out a cell phone with the Dummy app. So it was a fact of life with Jimmy Jacobs. They also had a promo backstage. They had a skit backstage, which was pretty cool. So definitely, I'm not explaining everything that was involved in these skits and promos. So definitely check this out if you want to see that, because I'm just kind of giving an overall skim of the whole event. The seventh match of the night was Sean Carr fought Brute Van Slyke. Brute Van Slyke also came out with Father Derek. Brute Van Slyke was a real tall guy. He looked pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. But Sean Carr was the baby face in the match, and Sean Carr ended up getting the win over Brute Van Slyke, and it was an upset. And I was shocked, but it was about 10 minutes long. I thought these two worked a pretty good old school style match. I'd give this match a good 2.8 out of 5. It wasn't bad. They did some cool things, so can't really dislike anything about it. Fans ate it up as well. They were cheering pretty well, so they know these two. They know these two wrestlers, obviously. So the eighth match of the night was KM versus Moose. And these two had a really good match as well. We've seen these two before on many different occasions, and it worked. This match worked. It was another way to feature two Impact stars, and Moose really played up his heel persona when he stated that he went to Syracuse, which wasn't far from where they were, and he said thank God he no longer has to come there because this town still sucks. That was pretty funny. Moose did a really good job here, I thought, of getting some heel heat. But Moose ended up getting the victory over KM. I liked the decision there, furthering Moose's heel persona, making him, giving him the shine that he needs there. So it was a good match with Moose and KM. I give this match a good 3.3 out of 5. That's what I would say. And the main event was Eddie Edwards versus Eli Drake. Very good match these two had. They went all over the building. They tore the house down. They really did. It was a highlight. I give this match a 3.8 out of 5. Really good main event. Eddie Edwards ends up actually getting the pin by surprise, which kind of throws a whole, surprise factor into the fact that, hey, it's Night of the Dummies. You thought Eli Drake, Eli Drake was focused about 50% of the show, or I'd say he's 100% of the show, obviously, because it was technically his show, but he was in a lot of the night, and, you really thought that he was going to win the match. But it turns out Eddie Edwards kind of gets the surprise upset. So I really enjoyed that fact. I also really enjoyed that Eli Drake was, the whole focus of the show, and he got to do a bunch of different promos and skits backstage. So I really liked this one night only. It almost felt like one night with Eli Drake, like a Christmas special or something. So I enjoyed it. And also, the stage ramp had Christmas lights, so it kind of felt like a Christmas special to me. But nonetheless, this event was very entertaining. It was fun to watch. The crowd was really into it. So I would say one night only, Night of the Dummies, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I think it was better than Bad Intentions, which was being filmed the same night. So yeah, Night of the Dummies, very fun, one night only. Definitely give it a watch. If you don't want to watch all the matches, fine. Definitely watch the skits and promos, though, because I think you'll find those entertaining. And definitely watch, a few of the matches, because I think there were a lot of good matches in the night. I think match of the night is definitely the main event. Eli Drake versus Eddie Edwards was definitely match of the night. But also give a lot of props to Team Tremendous for surprising me. I think they did a really good job versus the Heavenly Bodies, which I do enjoy as well. I enjoy their work. I think those guys are TV ready. I think all four of them could be TV ready if a promotion wanted to sign them. But 8 out of 10 for Impact one night only, night of the Dummies. And also just kind of give a little review of what we're going to be doing this week. We have a Bound for Glory preview show coming very soon. We're supposed to be recording it tonight, actually. So we will have, I believe, at least 3 regular appearing Heelcast members on this one. So it should be a really good show. We're very excited for it. And we're also going to be working on a Bound for Glory recap show, which hopefully will be live right after the pay-per-view. So that'll be very fun. A lot of good things happening for Impact Wrestling. A lot of big things. Obviously, we still got to talk about the TV deal that'll be coming up. But, a lot of good stuff going for Impact. So, anyways, this was Night of the Dummies review. I am Hurls on behalf of the Heelcast. Have a good night.